And welcome. Ignore that mistake. Welcome to the stream, where we will just be watching a parade today. That's all it is. I'm just super excited about this parade because it's a military parade. It's gonna be a bunch of dudes in like uniforms walking down just walking down the streets throughout history. It's not only gonna be modern uniforms. It's gonna be like from the Revolution to today, and they're going to be walking down. We're going to see all sorts of tanks throughout history. Not only modern tanks, but like probably some Sherman tanks and stuff as well, I'm willing to bet. Is this going to be really cool? And I haven't gotten to see like a military parade since I was a kid. So, and like those were like veteran parades and like those were cool, but it's just like, it's not going to be anything comparable to this. It's not going to be anything like this big, ostentatious, just people going down the streets. It's gonna be. I'm just excited. Ooh. I think this is our other feed I have. Ooh. I have at least 2 feeds to like work from. Ooh. We're gonna stick with this one. It has the actual parade going. Oof. Before stream, I made sure to eat some American cuisine, which is to say a bastardization of a foreign dish, and that is I had some I had some etouffee. Let's go America, that's right. But I had some etouffee, I had some nice Cajun before this, so I am belly full and full of energy. I've been looking forward to this all day. Originally, I was thinking, oh, hey, that's cool. I'll watch it. Should I stream it? Nah. But then, like, as time has gone on, it went from, like, nah to, like, maybe to, yeah, we could totally stream it to, like, I really want to watch this. I really want to stream it. It's been, like, less than 24 hours. Over the course of, like, 16-hour period, I have gotten so hyped for this. God, look at that. Hold up. I think it's safe for me to take down the flag. That's just like a copyright shield just in case. But that won't be up once it starts. I'm gonna try not to have it up once it starts, but before it's up, before it starts, I'm gonna have that up so also you guys can just know it's not going yet. Look at that tank. Look at that. Look at that commander's hatch. The turret on the top. Shit, did that thing have 2 turrets? Jesus Christ. It's like a freaking Bane blade. God, I think that's an Abrams. Fucking, they are mean little things. Say little, look how big it is. Ooh. Oh, is it starting? Ooh. Well, this music is probably copywritten, so let's turn that off. Oh! There they are! There they are! Oh, it started! At first, I thought it was actually the troops playing, but I realized that that's actually their music. So let's just be safe than sorry on YouTube at least. Ooh. Actually, I'll put on the BGM in the meantime. Our standard American BGM. That's way too loud. Let's go with 17 this time. As this people... This is cutting to people in the crowd so far. And still... Thing is, like, a parade goes at, like, 2 miles per hour. So, like, it started as it looks like, yeah, you can see them marching. Hopefully, yeah, you can see them marching and moving, but that's like 2 miles per hour. They're gonna take a while to get here, Jack. Give them a minute. What is... Oh, that camera feed's broken. Oh, you can't see it because of the drawing of the day. Please don't, please stay up long enough for me to share this cursed image. Let's get rid of Airy real quick so you can see the dude. Just how the feed's broken. But it's like only he... Oh, it went away. No, bring it back. Bring it back. Why was the one dude the only thing jittering in the picture, though? Why was everything else in it just frozen, but that dude was shaking? He was just violently shaking. Oh, okay, let's get Airy back up. Oop. Airy's back up. I don't care about... Let's see here. They're still coming. Yeah, that ain't normal. No, oh, come on! What? I thought they were finally... Oh, it's like a little trailer. I don't... What? Oh. Chat, they have a trailer for the parade. I wish my model could convey the smile I have on my face right now. Let's go! Happy 250th birthday, America Army! Oh. Oh. We can actually turn this off now. Let's see what he has to say. What was that, 4 stars? Okay. I'm gonna put the hat away for a minute. Surprised that Tomoe was like, nah, not interested about the parade. I mean, it is literally just like, oh, hey, want to watch a bunch of your co-workers, you know, in a parade? I can understand it from that perspective. It's like, you know, I said how, like, I have a bunch of accountant family members in last stream. Like, I like Spice and Wolf because I got that in my blood. It's their work. They look at Spice and Wolf as it's like, oh god, just another day at work. Like, they completely have no interest. I don't think she cares for the current administration. I don't really know what her political... I think she just wants to avoid politics in general. Well, the thing I don't like about this hat right now, this is just the asset, not like the hat itself, is that it's like too small if it's like this, but if I make it bigger, it's way too big. It doesn't normally, like, it just, the gradient shifts so wildly. And that's why I don't like it. It makes my head look small if I put it on like this. But if I make this one, it makes my head look small in a different way. Like, it makes me look like I have a pinhead. Fuck off. I don't know what that is. It makes me look like I have a pinhead when it's small, but when it's big, it's so big that it doesn't track properly. Ooh. So that's why I want to put it to the side. Just looks awkward. Donald Trump. Also, in the military, she might not technically be allowed to it might sound weird, but she might not technically be allowed to stream it, even though it's on her own time, because there's some just rules about those kind of things. It might be that as well. Ooh. I know that might sound weird, but it's just, it might just be safe than sorry. God, I know they still have, like, they still have ear protection, but they don't get to have, like, the earbuds with the, like, ear covers because they're in like a dress uniform. It's an honor to be working those guns, but at the same time, those guns are still loud. Hmm. I'm so sorry, I just realized that the audio wasn't on for you guys. Sorry for the audio mess up, but to be fair, some of the audio before that point was probably copywritten anyways. But you did miss like half of the Star Spangled Banner, and I cannot apologize enough for that. Redhead singing the anthem, I'd even fucking notice. My eyes were like closed for most of it.
We had an army.
They started as a small, unorganized group of shop owners and farmers, but they fought the most powerful army in the entire world to a standstill in Concord, Lexington, and Bunker Hill.
Then our Continental Congress chose George Washington as general of our Continental Army.
But it wasn't until 1 year later, on July 4th, 1776,
oh, that's really quiet
news
too.
arrived of the signing of our Declaration of Independence.
Now we had a new army and a new nation.
There you go. I hope that's loud enough for you guys now.
With
normally desktop audio is just off, so it is really low.
Feet, few cannons, little training, and even less food.
Valley Forge started in December. They went into winter camp at December.
Okay, in my defense, this audio right now, that's not my fault. That's their fault. It keeps cutting out. That's totally them.
They lived through hell, but they never ever gave up. Not this army, not this first American army.
Finally, Washington and his army arrived. Here at Yorktown, where they had General Cornwallis and his powerful British army trapped in this city against the sea.
All of the preparation that Washington has learned through the course of those 6
Yeah,
and a half years.
I've seen
meets
the
its full
end
force here
of
at
The
Yorktown, and
Patriot.
employs it brilliantly.
I was gonna say we could have
Sailing
watched
from
The
the
Patriot, but then I remember we're
Caribbean,
watching that on July
The
4th.
French Navy arrived and took on the British fleet.
We're gonna see if the audio is better on Fox real quick.
They were called Redoubts 9 and 10.
Then, on the moonless night of October 14th, the American and French forces attacked.
Oh, that's a lot quieter.
The hand-to-hand combat with bayonets, knives, and fists was bloody, to say the least.
It's more stable, but it is a lot quieter.
And as the sun came up the next day, Cornwallis looked out and realized he was in serious trouble. So he prepared an all-out, desperate counterattack.
It didn't work, and the British were forced to surrender.
We were supposed to lose to the best army and the largest and most professional navy in the world.
But our young army had won the war and our freedom. The freedom we hold so dear. And 250 years later, for what started as a ragtag group of shop owners,
RSBN?
has now become the most powerful army in the world.
Today, many things are very different from that army here at Yorktown. But one thing remains
Let me check it
the
out.
same. An undying passion, guts, and love for our country is deep in the heart of today's army. When I look into their faces, you can see it. That will never change. God bless the United States Army, and God bless the United States of America.
I might go to that because I'd rather be there than using Fox News. Also, theirs is not nearly as... You don't have this ugly banner. Ooh. I'm going to leave the audio on, but I'm going to take down the video real quick so we can switch to that one. Or let's go back to Reuters real quick and see if its audio problems are fixed first. No, Reuters is just shit. Reuters is just garbage. There's no saving it, chat. Okay. There's YouTube. Okay, so let me get up RSBN. I just want something stable that doesn't have an ugly overlay on it. But it's probably gonna... Oh no, no ad. Excellent. There we go. I do like the difference between parade march and like normal march, because normal march is just they're just walking effectively, like they're walking in step with one another, but like how enthusiastic people are kind of varies. Like here, they're all in line, they're all, you know, in like the arms are in the same motion, you know, it is all that. But like normal march is just casually just dudes walking. Like if you watch the setup yesterday. If you watch the setup yesterday, you could just see them just like casually, just like they're in the same columns, but there's so much more. Just like, okay, let's just get into place, everyone. Like in the the teamwork is amazing though. Day of, but the practice is just them just going like, okay, yeah, this is us. Make sure we can do it.
Of national and international significance. They were founded back in 1922 by Army Chief of Staff John J. Pershing. They're led today by Colonel Bruce R. Pulver and Drum Major Rob Moore. Today, Pershing's Own is playing a melody entitled The Army Goes Rolling Along. This was actually written in 1908 by the then Lieutenant Edmund Louis Snitz Gruber, which was a descendant of Franz Gruber, who composed Silent Night. It was originally written to be the 5th Artillery Regimental song titled
let me see if I can
The
get
Caissons
those
Go Rolling
subtitles.
Along. And in 1956,
I have my
the lyrics
how
were
I have
revised
everything
by
set up.
Harold Arberg as the official song of the U.S. Army, and then retitled The Army
Let me see if I
Goes
can get those
Rolling Along.
subtitles in place for you guys.
Pershing's Own carries on its century-old legacy, playing a march that brings pride to every soldier. The Army Song. The 3rd Infantry Regiment, the oldest active duty unit in the U.S. Army. Established back in 1784,
it's very nice
the
just
unit
to
was
see.
dubbed the Old Guard by Major General Winfield Scott during a victory parade in Mexico City after the Mexican War. It is the U.S. Army's official ceremonial unit and presidential escort, conducting year-round tactical training to ensure
Actually,
the highest standards.
one of my
and
favorite
utmost
things
discipline
about
of its soldiers.
the U.S.
The unit
march
routinely
is that it's a
represents
lot
the US
casual
Army
than
and
some
our
other
nation at official
marches.
ceremonies, major sporting
And I
events,
really
and
do
their own, the US
like that.
Army's
Like, they're
own
still all
Twilight
synchronized, there's
Tattoo.
still all that, but they don't
The
have,
Old
like,
Guard
it's not
also
like a
maintains
Soviet march where they all
24-hour
have
vigil
sticks
of
up
the
their
team of
asses,
the
you know.
unarmed soldiers,
You know,
while also
it's
conducting
not like they're
funeral
all
services honoring our
automatons.
fallen
It
heroes
feels
at
like it's
Arlington
actually
National Cemetery.
individuals
The
coming
regiment's
together
50
in
campaign
one
streaker
unit.
stand is a testament to its long, faithful service to our nation.
Teamwork, as you
Ladies
said
and gentlemen,
earlier.
The 3rd Infantry Regiment, the Old Guard.
I don't care about the crowd. There we go.
The shot heard round the world at Lexington and Concord
Bone quiet.
sparked a revolution, uniting 13 colonies and forging a continental army from farmers and frontiersmen. Against the odds, they turned the tide at Trenton and Saratoga, survived Valley Forge, and at Yorktown forced a British surrender, securing independence and giving birth to the United States of America.
Hold up, if I do this. That actually is better. It's better if I just leave my mouse on the stop and go button. Because then it just moves them all up, and that way we don't have the negative space.
In the Continental Army, fifes and drums carried commands across the chaos of battle.
Phone, shut
telling
up.
soldiers when to advance, when to retreat, eat, even when to rest. That legacy actually lives on today with the U.S. Army Fife and Drum Corps, part of the 3rd Infantry Regiment known as the Old Guard. Founded back in 1960, they're the only unit of their kind in the armed forces. Performing in uniforms patterned after those worn by General Washington's musicians. Playing period instruments with patriotic precision, they bring history to life, sharing the sound and spirit of the Revolution through more than 500 performances each year, both at home and around the world, too. The Old Guard.
I wonder what you
Fife
had to
and
do to
Drum
be,
Corps, everybody.
you know, to get that role. To get the pseudo-Washington role.
And now, from high above, ladies and gentlemen, celebrating 250 years, your United States Army parachute team, the
Oh my
Golden
god!
Knights.
That's so cool!
Descending at over 120 miles an hour, the Golden Knights are using flexible wing gliders to maintain their formation. They open their main canopy simultaneously and negotiate the softest possible landing.
That's cool.
I'll tell you, they can't hear you, but they sure can see you. You can give them a great big wave, ladies and gentlemen.
Also, I love this. I love
the
this
finest
announcer. This is
parachuting
so.
team
This
in
is
the
such a
world.
classic parade announcer where it's just. He's just there to get people hyped. I like this dude. Sorry for that sound. That was an old lint roller, if you heard that. Oh, look at the dude with the smoke! He's coming in, he's gonna take out the other guy to shoot down his parachute. Oh my god. This parade is about to get real dark, chat. That's certainly a good idea to give them the smoke trail so they're easier to find in the air and you can just like map out their path. Oh!
Fort Sumter in 1861. A nation divided. Over 4 brutal years, nearly 2 million soldiers fought to preserve the Union. Among them, 5 future presidents and the first recipients of a brand new military decoration.
Oh shit, yeah, it was 5 future presidents.
When independence won, our nation's westward expansion began.
No skydiving accidents. No, they already deployed their chutes.
As native scouts lit the way. Immigrants joined the cause, and the Buffalo Soldiers etched a legacy of grit and honor across the American frontier.
I do love the scene in, what is it, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, when they get captured, I think, by the Union. But they,
As they march by, a soldier's uniform signals their duty, their role, and their readiness. And by the late 1850s, official regulations outlined distinct looks, shaping the Army's identity and function across the force. Soldiers were issued 2 coats. One, a short sack coat for work and battle, with brass buttons and colored trim that marked their rank. Well, by war's end, that rugged sack coat became the soldier's uniform of choice. As the war escalated, volunteer enlistment surged. Congress authorized support for a force of up to 500,000 troops, answering the call to preserve the Union. As they march by, representing the Civil War era of our nation's history, is the 4th Infantry Division
for the
based out of Fort
paratroopers.
Carson,
Oh shit,
Colorado.
is that Maine? I didn't realize that they were having like different flags of I don't know if that's Maine, but that's definitely one of the states in the area. But that's I didn't realize that they had like flags on them. Ooh. It does look windy looking at the trees. I was trying to find something to look at. Yeah, those trees are constantly moving. If it's a constant wind, it shouldn't be too bad. If it was gusty, I'd be more concerned. Oh, where's he going?
From Port Cavazos, Texas, home of legends, the 1st Cavalry Division rides with pride. Born from the thunder of horse cavalry traditions of the Civil War, the 1st team forged its reputation on the front lines of history. They stormed Manila with the flying column, charged into Pyongyang as the first to breach the line and face the brutal crucible of Ia Drang, the first of 13 named campaigns in Vietnam where they proved their mettle. Today, that same warrior spirit lives on. You'll know the name, and you'll know them by their iconic cav hats, elite soldiers, and cutting-edge equipment.
I didn't know cavalry was used in,
The 1st Cavalry Division is a lethal, disciplined force.
I mean, I know horses are still used, and I knew horses were used in Korea, but I didn't know that they were also used in Vietnam. I just assumed with the jungles, because that was where most of the fighting was. It's not like the mountains of Korea where, you know, the horses are like really useful because you can't get a Jeep up that mountain. But you can't really get a horse through a forest either. I didn't know that they were also there.
Special thanks to our sponsor, Lockheed Martin.
I'm sorry. I just thought of the Eisenhower quote, beware of the, of course. I mean, yeah, they're gonna be the ones sponsoring it, but it still kind of got me off guard a little. I wasn't expecting sponsors. But you know what? Anything that can get, you know, like, that can get this cost to go lower, I'm okay with it as a taxpaying citizen. Move this up here, the stream deck, so I have better vision of it.
1914, years of escalating competition between European alliances culminate in the outbreak of the First World War. The two sides engage in the savage war of attrition, defined by opposing trenches, barbed wire,
and then American Marines came in with shotguns and were like, let's have fun. Hello, it is the parade. I'm sorry, Twitch. Okay, I didn't. Twitch put your chat at the top instead of at the bottom. I'm so sorry, I didn't see that.
Over 4 million. with nearly 2
Hello,
million
Clid.
soldiers serving in Europe.
It is the military
In 6 months
parade.
of fighting,
It
nearly
is the
50,000
parade for the
Americans lost their lives,
250th
with another
anniversary
190,000
of the founding of the U.S.
The
Army.
guns fell silent with the armistice of November 11th, 1919.
And right now they're just going through like some of the most historical like units. So it's just something that's happening in D3 right now for the anniversary of our military because it's 250 years old. Oh yeah, I love the marching music of militaries. It's always so nice.
Continue on with more USA World War I rolling stock. This 1918 Dodge touring car was part of the legendary 1919 Transcontinental Convoy. 3,251 miles and 62 grueling days across the Lincoln Highway. Now remember, no pavement, no GPS, and no power steering. Just grit, determination, and the drive to push.
Okay, I like that they put like a Jesse Ventura look-alike in the car. That's really nice.
The roads we rely on today, and reminds us when the Army moves, the nation follows. The 1918 Dodge touring car.
We're just watching it right now.
Headquartered in New York, this is the 42nd Infantry Division Band. At the start of World War I, the 42nd Infantry Division was formed with troops from 27 National Guard units, stretching across the country like a rainbow. Composed of skilled musicians from all walks of life and professional occupations, they perform a variety of musical genres. Though their mission is primarily a musical one, the members were ordered into active federal service back in 2004 in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom 3. The band has also served in support of numerous state active duty missions, including cleanup efforts following Hurricane Sandy, distribution support during COVID-19, and recently, support for New York State Corrections. Commanded by Chief Warrant Officer 2 Ethan Wagner and led by Drum Major Sergeant First Class Drew Gans, the band is performing Over There, written in 1917 by Broadway composer and recipient of the Congressional Gold
Medal. The World War I
George
uniforms
M.
got me a little
Cohan.
confused because I was like, wait. I was getting 42nd confused with 82nd.
Era is the 82nd Airborne Division, based out of Fort Bragg, North Carolina. You'll notice the unit is wearing replica World War I uniforms signifying the soldiers who served our nation during this time. When the Americans entered the Great War, our soldiers under the command of General Blackjack Pershing hit the trenches in the new standard.
That is a great name.
Drab winter service uniform. Now on their heads you'll see a steel helmet with sand-textured paint built to deflect deadly shrapnel from above. Not bulletproof, but battle tough. Nicknamed the Pershing boot, on their feet was the M918 1918 French boot. It was designed to survive the brutal grind of trench warfare. And on their backs, the field pack, rations, ammo, first aid, and a gas mask. Everything a doughboy needed to fight and to win.
Phone, shut up.
Incidentally, the 42nd Infantry Division was deployed to heavy combat abroad and then deployed again in World War II, ultimately liberating the Dachau concentration camp. The 42nd responded to the terrorist attacks on 9/11. Later, with the war on terrorism, the rainbow stretched across the world again, deploying in Iraq and Afghanistan. Thundering into view, the pride of Fort Sill, the U.S. Army Artillery Half Section. This is literally powered by horsepower and heritage. This elite ceremonial unit honors the legacy of the Army's horse-drawn artillery.
Horses, let's go!
Discipline, and 6 majestic horses pulling a vintage 1918 caisson, the half section keeps tradition alive and rolling strong. Representing the power, pride, and precision of America's field artillery. This is Fort Sill's finest, ladies and gentlemen.
I like how there, because there's horses, there's just a dude behind him who has to just pick up the poop. I get to be in the parade. Oh, really? What's your job? I'm the person who gets to pick up the horse poop. Oh, good for you. I mean, I'd take the job. I mean, it'd be an honor. We're gonna get another trailer.
World War II, a global fight for freedom. In history's darkest hour, the United States Army was on the front lines. From the beaches of Normandy to the islands of the Pacific, the greatest generation faced down tyranny and turned the tide. From bombers to fighters to transports, U.S. Army aircraft started to thunder across the skies in World War II. And take a look up there, ladies
the
and
Air Force didn't exist
flying
yet.
Overhead right now, they are fast, they are fierce, and famously
yeah, there's
used
crowds
to
for this. This is that they're mostly
Leading
focusing
up
on the
front,
parade
mighty
assets
B-25
themselves.
Mitchell.
There's kind of people, yeah, you can
Up
see
next,
there's crowds.
the
There's
Cadillac
people
of the sky,
around
the B-51 Mustang.
throughout the path of it.
From the sky, we're back down on the ground. In World War II,
Yeah, I was really happy seeing those planes.
Legendary quarter-ton 4x4 command recon vehicle, the Jeep.
Yeah, before, actually, that's why the Air Force has this. Pretty much their chevrons and whatnot that they have to signify rank are just upside-down versions of, if I remember correctly, American, of Army.
The Army used the Jeep for
Of
almost
Army,
every military activity,
and that's just because that's just how they differentiated. At least I think during World War II.
Fast, rugged,
Now instead of just having like just flipping the ranks upside down, they just have the ranks look slightly different in the modern Air Force. But in the Air Corps, which was part of the Army, they just made the chevrons point upside down. So instead of having a triangle, you just had an upside down triangle effectively.
The 82nd received the nickname All-American
if you were a
after
private,
contest as it represented the diverse origins of its members from every state. This name remains today symbolized by their iconic AA patch. Fort Bragg's finest, ladies and gentlemen. Give them a big round of applause, the 82nd Airborne Ceremonial Band.
Looks like they're walking straight out of Band of Brothers.
In a global fight like World War II, the U.S. Army knew our troops needed more than courage. They needed innovation. Uniforms evolved for every environment, but olive drab remained the mark of the American soldier. Shaped by lessons from the trenches of World War I, the Army introduced two battlefield essentials: the M1 helmet, tough, stable, and built to protect under fire, and the M1 Garand rifle, powerful and fast. It gave American troops a very clear edge. General George S. Patton called the M1 rifle the greatest battle implement ever designed, and history proved him right. The 82nd Airborne Division. The unit is best known for their bravery on D-Day, when 12,000 parachuting
You find it entertaining seeing Trump just salute all the time, and
lines after fighting for 33 days straight.
I know he doesn't have a military background, but it's just funny seeing his salute, and it's always too far into the eyebrow. And you're supposed to have your salute actually slightly angled downwards, and he always has it straight up. He always has the civilian salute. It's just kind of funny to me. It's a little cute.
Division, known for their ability to rapidly deploy across the world, the unit has held a crucial role in operations since its inception.
Yeah.
From parachuting behind enemy lines on D-Day to leading.
That's what I mean. In the American military, it's very casual for the actual march.
In the 50s,
if you're not in, if it's not, I know this is parade, but what I mean that is like if you're not in parade dress, if you're not those guys who were leading the parade, your whole like thing is just walk in unison is all you're supposed to do.
Participated extensively in the war on terrorism in Iraq and Afghanistan. The Screaming Eagles continue to lead the way as tomorrow's division in today's Army.
Like America wants you to learn to march in unison, to understand, to like function as a group. But past that point, there, like anything past that, anything that's exaggerated past that, they really don't care as much as other militaries.
In World War II. It became one of the most influential tank designs.
That's usually if they're not all specially dressed up like those, if they're not all gussied up, they're just like I just need to keep in step. As I was saying at the start, better from American and similar events and past before the whole.
Was in active service until 1957. In World War II, the M16 half-track was a force to be reckoned with. It was a self-propelled anti-aircraft weapon with speed, firepower, and grit. Nicknamed the Meat Chopper, its quad 50 caliber mount could unleash 2,300 rounds a minute.
I also don't know how
Quite
long this is, so depending on how long
Korea,
their
Vietnam,
march
and beyond
is,
remains in use in
I could
US
also
allies
understand
to
them
this
kind of
day.
doing a more
The
casual
M16
march
half-track brings the fight wherever it rolls.
for that reason, because the more, you know, stick up your ass marches take up more energy. So I don't know how long they're doing this. I can imagine either one, though. Ooh. I think it's just more of a casual thing overall. Look at that thing. Okay, you're taking a picture of Trump while you passing by? Hold up. I need to get a picture of the president. Slow this thing down. We're already going at like 1 mile per hour. Go slower.
The U.S. Army Transportation Corps motto states, "Nothing happens until something moves." That was never more true than with this. Look at this, the 2.5-ton Chevrolet Deuce and a Half. Moved up to 10,000 pounds of cargo and was the backbone of the Red Ball Express that kept the Allies supplied after D-Day in World War II.
So, Trump, you're 79 today. Just sit down. We understand, you know? He just wants to keep standing up. He's like, it really is just like, no disrespect to the president in this regard, but it is just like a child that's going like, I want to salute the soldiers, and they have to keep going like, okay, that's nice. It's like, I need to salute the soldiers. I need to show them that I respect them. One fail.
The Korean War,
Oh,
often
damn.
referred to as the Forgotten War, began on June 25th, 1950. With the North Korean Army's invasion
I actually
of
didn't
South
mention
Korea.
it, but one of my grandfathers
The
was in
coalition
World
of
War
South Korea, the
II.
United States,
My
and
other
other
grandfather
United
was in the
Nations
Korean
members
War.
defeated the invasion and advanced into North Korea. The coalition fought and defeated
I
two
bet.
Chinese offensives in the spring of 1951.
But actually, what I want to
Armistice
say
negotiations
is,
began
in the
shortly
Korean
after that
War,
defeat in July of 1951 until the armistice was signed 2 years later in 1953. Combat
my
consisted of
grandfather
small attacks,
he
raids,
wasn't a
and patrol.
field medic. His
During
job
this
was
war,
to be
the
the person
United
who
States
goes to
deployed
people
approximately
and
6.8
sees if they're
million military
alive or
forces
dead
to the
to
Korean
tell the
Peninsula.
medics, that guy can be saved. Don't bother with that guy. And one thing that was like the most oppressive thing in the Korean War wasn't the enemy. It was the fact that they were fighting on top of mountains and it was just cold as hell. You were just fighting in like you're fighting in the lowest level of hell effectively, where everything's frozen all the time.
Special thanks to our
It was
sponsor,
just
Coinbase.
grueling as hell. My other grandfather in World War II, I think he was also in the army, if I remember correctly, but he was just a cartographer, so he just worked maps. He didn't really he didn't work the front lines like my other grandfather.
The M151 kept rolling along as the lightweight, high-mobility general.
Easy to listen to him talk about it for hours.
Famed World War II Jeep back in
My
1961.
father
Officially
knows
named
the stories from my
military
grandfather.
utility tactical truck,
Sadly,
or
due to
MUT,
some
most service
issues in my
gently
life, I
referred
never got
as
to
a
listen to
Jeep.
those stories.
The vehicle spanned more than 40 years and 4 manufacturers and were everywhere that the Army was deployed.
By the time I was able to ask him, he had already passed away. It's one of those things.
Another rolled by earlier, and at 2.5 tons, this Deuce and a Half, the M35A2
Ah.
classic military transport
There's that
truck,
what you were
was a
talking about,
mainstay
the
of
Deuce and a
US Army
Half.
for decades, particularly during the Vietnam War and Operation Iraqi Freedom. The Deuce and a Half proved its value moving cargo, supplies, and soldiers. Its capabilities include up to 5,000 pounds off-road and 10,000 pounds on-road,
Hey, no, give that back.
making it ideal for moving just about anything.
How can I bet? What? Stop going down.
In the jungles of
Okay.
Vietnam, the U.S. Army faced a new kind of war. Helicopters became the new workhorses of battle, delivering troops, firepower, and supplies.
I do
into
like
some of
that
the
when
most
there's the
unforgiving
civilian
terrain on
version of like military
This is the US
vehicles.
Army in Vietnam,
Sometimes they're
the era
obnoxious
of
like the
air mobility,
Hummer,
fierce firefights,
but then you have
and
things like the Deuce and the
unwavering
Half, where it's just like, it's just a It's like I don't want a semi truck,
And
but I
over the
want something
music,
that can
marching
carry the
through,
weight of a semi
the roar
truck.
of these legendary Army helicopters takes to the air. Flying overhead right now, they helped define the Vietnam War. That staccato beat of the rotor blades was a welcome sound to many troops mired in combat. From transport and medevac to close air support and reconnaissance, they brought the fight to the front and pulled the wounded to safety. The OH-6 Cayuse scouted the terrain with unmatched agility. The AH-1 Cobra, also nicknamed the Snake, brought serious firepower. Its slim design, as you can see here, helped it survive and thrive in hostile environments to protect soldiers.
I like that
below.
wider shot because
And the
I thought they were
icon
just
of the
doing a
era,
flyby,
the
but they're doing
UH-1
maneuvers
Huey,
in the
first
air,
turbine-powered
actually.
helicopter in service with the U.S. military. There was nothing the Huey couldn't do. General support, air assault, cargo transport, medic evacuation, and ground attack missions. The Cayuse, Cobra, and Huey, ladies and gentlemen, three iconic Army symbols in the sky.
They've got the transports and the gunships and the scouts.
The 1st Cavalry Division Band, based out of
It is really cool seeing all of
Texas,
these.
has played a vital role in U.S. military history. Since its origins back in 1855 as the band of the 2nd Cavalry, it has supported operations from the Civil War to Desert Storm. Over time, it's evolved into a powerful force using music to strengthen bonds between soldiers and engage with communities. From World War II in Korea to the Vietnam War in Bosnia, the 1st Teen Band has enhanced morale and upheld the division's enduring legacy. Today, the band continues its mission using music to shape perceptions, foster trust, and promote national Army and division interests. Standing ready to serve, it remains an enduring symbol of the 1st Cavalry Division's legacy and commitment to duty. The band
Trump's saluting again. We need to get the camera over to him.
March composed by Captain Robert Meredith Wilson. This piece reflects the cavalry's transition from horses to mechanized warfare, capturing the speed, the resilience, and the tradition of the division. From Corcavazo, Texas, everybody, the 1st Cavalry Division Band. The U.S. Army deployed large numbers of troops in support of the Vietnam War. The first contingent of U.S. Army advisors arrived in Vietnam in the late 1950s, and that quickly grew to a small team of around 100 soldiers, which then expanded to more than 600 over the next decade. As the war intensified, troops' numbers quickly grew as the war between the South Vietnamese government and the communist insurgents supported by North Vietnam intensified. By January 1969, more than 364,200 soldiers organized around 7 divisions and 20 separate combat brigades. The United States began withdrawing its forces in July of 1969. The last Army combat unit left South Vietnam in August of '71. The last U.S. combat soldier came home March 1973, while a small number of non-combat personnel remained until April 1975.
I always like the cloth over the Vietnam helmets.
Representing the Vietnam War era is the 101st Airborne Division based out of Fort Campbell, Kentucky. The unit is wearing replica Vietnam War uniforms signifying the soldiers who served our nation during this time. Blistering heat, thick humidity, and unforgiving terrain demanded uniform innovation.
I see they didn't have the slurs and... Ooh, they didn't have these slurs and, you know, curses on the helmets like they had in Vietnam. I've actually held an authentic Vietnam helmet, and they really are just outfitted with all the stuff you see in the movies where they have, like, the peace sign, they have, like, just all those phrases on them. They are just covered in graffiti, in all honesty.
Tropical combat boots that offered better grip, faster drying, and all-day endurance. Special thanks to our sponsor, Oracle.
Golf? Yes.
When Saddam Hussein's Iraq invaded Kuwait in August 1990, the U.S. Army deployed to Saudi Arabia to deter further Iraqi aggression in the region for what was known as Operation Desert Shield. By the fall, more than 750,000 troops comprising U.S. service members and coalition partners from more than 30 countries had assembled in the Saudi Arabian desert. In mid-January 1991, the U.S.-led coalition began Operation Desert Storm, which kicked off with an intensive air campaign designed to knock out key Iraqi infrastructure and weaken Iraqi forces. The ground offensive was launched in early 1991, where military forces overwhelmingly destroyed enemy tanks and
Apologies,
vehicles.
I had to check on the dog.
After only 100 hours of ground combat, coalition troops liberated Kuwait, and the Gulf War ended with Iraq's surrender.
Gulf War? We call it a war, but it's pretty quick. What's 100 hours? That's like... Jesus Christ, that's not even 4 days?
From Fort Riley, Kansas,
It has to be.
this is the first
That's 4
infantry
days,
division,
because
one of the Army's
24 is
most
less than
storied
25, but
divisions.
Jesus Christ.
Nicknamed the Big
It ain't
Red One
5
because of the
days.
distinctive red on their unit patch. As the oldest continuously serving division in the U.S. Army, the unit has participated in every major operation since World War I, living up to its motto, no mission too difficult, no sacrifice too great, duty first. The 1st Infantry Division was originally established as the 1st Expeditionary Division in 1917 and spearheaded the American Expeditionary Forces in France.
Yeah, it is going
during
along
World
pretty
War I.
quickly,
World
in all
War II,
honesty.
the fighting first stormed Omaha
It's
Beach
supposed to be
on
like an
D-Day
hour and a
and
half,
liberated
but they're
Nazi
already
concentration
at...
camps. The highly decorated
Not the
unit
modern
has had
age, but
37
they're
members
past
of
the
Big
Gulf
Red
War,
One
for God's
awarded
sake.
The Medal of Honor. In Washington, D.C., the 1st Division Monument stands in President's Park, memorializing those who died while
So
serving.
considering the
in
expectation
1st
was it to
Infantry
be
Division.
half an hour, I'm
Ladies
kind of
and
wondering
gentlemen,
if
they are the Big Red One, the
that was an
1st Infantry
if that was an
Division.
an hour and a half, sorry. I wonder if this was an overestimate or not. To be honest, it might only be an hour long, and it's supposed to be scheduled for 2 hours. So if it starts
More military
at one
rolling
end
stock.
and it
During
takes an
Operation
hour to
Desert
get to
Storm,
the
M2
other
Bradley fighting
end,
vehicle proved its value
then
on
the
the
total
battlefield.
length of the
It
parade
is
would be
fast,
2
it is
hours.
tough, and it is lethal. Named for General Omar
Jesus.
Bradley, a leader from West Point's famed class of 1916, the Bradley was built to carry troops into combat with protection and power. Armed with a 25mm chain-driven cannon,
So though the
and
parade is
22
meant to be
launched
2 hours
optically tacked
long,
wire-guided
the
missiles,
march might
it
only
played
be
a
an
critical
hour
role
long.
in clearing the way during the ground assault into Iraq. While the Paladin looks and sounds like a tank, it is technically a self-propelled howitzer and was first introduced
about
back
to say,
in the
that's just-
1960s.
that's a
Over the
self-propelled
years, it's been
artillery.
upgraded to perform in versatile battlefields from Vietnam to the Soviet Union to Iraq.
Beautiful vehicles, though. I wonder if they took some, because some of these, like, were commissioned in, like, the tan for the desert. I wonder if they just had green ones, or they had to paint some green, like, a month ago when they were planning this. Ooh. Surely they just have, like, 1 or 2, like, green ones on stock. But I don't think I've ever seen a green Abrams before, now that I think about it. I've always just seen the desert camo. God, look at those ammo racks in the back to just hold... Not necessarily ammo racks, but just those racks in the back to hold extra ammo, extra gear. The smoke grenade launchers on the sides of the Abrams. Why focus on him? I've seen those ones. I've seen these in these colors. and the more forest colors, the cars and whatnot. Yeah, I didn't really think about it before today, but I've seen, I think, an Abrams in Arctic camo before, but never just flat green. God damn, you really get appreciation of how big an Abrams is with that truck just driving by it. And how that is a very big truck. You know, I've driven by those many times on the highway. But just having the Abrams just dwarf it like it's nothing. Jesus.
The First Armored. The 1st Armored Division, nicknamed Old Ironsides, is the oldest, most recognizable armored division in the United States Army. As part of the buildup for World War II, cavalry and reconnaissance units were brought together to form the 1st Armored Division in 1940. In the Gulf War, no division hit harder or moved faster than the 1st Armored. Old Ironsides really led the way. During Desert Storm, they engaged in some of the largest tank battles in Army history that were decisive victories.
You're from England?
Shattering enemy formations. Based in Fort Bliss, Texas, America's tank division is currently supporting missions.
The trucks I've seen, in the green color.
From World War II to today, Old Ironside
I've seen the trucks. They're either the green color. They're always a line of trucks wherever you're going. Because very rarely do you see one truck driving on the highway by itself in the military. For a military, it's usually a convoy of some sort. But I've seen both the green and the brown, but I've never seen them mixed, which makes sense because they'd be part of the same units. But makes sense. It'd be weird if you saw the desert versions, though, because I don't think there's a lot of deserts in England. Let me just get something off. There we go. I know the drab off green with that's mostly brown is just a better universal camo, but I like the deep sage green of the classic uniforms of World War, II and whatnot, and Vietnam. They just look so striking. That's kind of the problem. They're not fighting in forests anymore. You want something that slips more into urban, that fits you more into urban settlements, because that's where people are fighting now. And you got people firing from each other at trees or, in fields. Actually, a big part of modern camouflage is to kind of break up the body silhouette as much as anything. Actually inspired by nature, with a lot of animals, their camouflage actually functioning not to make them... Because a lot of animals you can see very obviously, like zebras and whatnot. And I don't think zebras are an example of this, but just for obvious. But a lot of animals are colorblind, and what they use is more shape and outline to find out where things are. And though humans can see color, we still have that built into us as how we first see something, is how we first appraise something is through outline and movement. So modern camouflage is more meant to decide, I'd say fuzz, muzzle the movement and the outline of people.
Whether used in battery formation or as a standalone support weapon, the M119 delivered reliable, responsible fire when it mattered most. Still in service today, including on the front lines in Ukraine, it remains a trusted part of the Army's arsenal.
These, I think, are where all the vehicles are going to be. Which doesn't answer the question I kind of thought about before stream, and of whether or not, like, they're going to have the vehicles interspersed, or just, like, at the end or something, or leading it.
To our sponsor, UFC.
That's why he was shown, because he's one of the sponsors. Okay, that's how he got a special seat. But I am happy they are including the vehicles, because I was worried it'd just be soldiers marching, which would be cool, and it was cool. But you're watching a VTuber, I am a VTuber, we're all autistic here. We want the vehicles, we want the tanks, we want the howitzer on treads. Really, you chose to do laundry now? When I can't get my stuff out of the dryer? Sorry, you can't hear it, but somebody started the washing machine and my stuff is in the dryer. Little bastard.
On September 11, 2001, terrorists destroyed the World Trade Center in New York City and struck the Pentagon in Washington, D.C. using commercial airliners. In response, the U.S. launched the global war on terrorism. The U.S. would stop potential threats around the world and take the fight to terrorist groups and the nations that back them. The Army,
except for Saudi Arabia, we were still friends with them.
Osama bin Laden's Al-Qaeda terrorist organization and depose his sponsors, the ruling Taliban. The 2003 President Bush expanded the war to Iraq. Soldiers and other armed services overthrew Iraq's dictator Saddam Hussein. The fight to stabilize Iraq and prevent terrorist groups from overthrowing its new government continues to this day. The campaign in Afghanistan lasted until 2021, when U.S. forces withdrew and the Taliban returned to power. Over the course of the two-decade conflict, over 2 million servicemen and women, less than 1% of the American population, deployed in support of the global war on terrorism. Most of those who served were members of the United States Army.
That's actually a good thing, because actually, if a military, historically speaking, goes over 1%, that's actually not feasible in long-term support. Like, that actually puts too much stress on a nation, believe it or not. Like, even the Romans, like, they're known for their massive legions and whatnot. The Romans at their peak, I think, like, militarily speaking, had like 1.7% of their population was part of the military. It's actually very typical that the military of a nation is the smallest it can be. Even during wartime. Because really think about it, like, how much a war costs. You just can't keep those expenses up unless you have people. Wait a minute. Sorry, I got distracted there. I was looking for Trump. But actually, it's just historically, like, and when Rome had that, it was actually incredibly taxing on Rome to have that 1.7% military quantity, like, percentage. This is copywritten. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. And do I have to get the... Okay. So that there's something in the background. Oh. What are we looking at? There's still the parade moving on. I still want to look at the parade. Thank you. Is that it? We'll go over to Fox and see. Yeah, that looks like that might be it. Ooh. So it's 2 hours because it's gonna. The march is an hour long, but it's going to be over the distance of it is going to be effectively 2 hours. So everyone's not going to be done with it until that 2 hour mark. That was nice. That's why I don't want to stop stream in case there is an intermission thing. Ooh. It was nice considering it was put together. This was actually very much put together last minute. And like, yes, they started planning it a month ago, but that's a month in like government terms, you know? You don't plan something a month before it happens in the government. So this is very, very, very like last minute compared to what you get. No drones. The army definitely has drones, but I guess they would want to celebrate the soldiers, but also, we don't know if it's done yet, in all honesty, because I feel like there's more that they could have shown. Sure, like the war on terror and whatnot, and they did catch up with like to 2021, but I feel like there's still more they could show. There's probably going to be fireworks after, but that's not going to be until 8 o'clock, is the thing. Oh. There we go.
The eight-wheeled Striker
there we go.
Is the first new military
I said that there should be more technology on the way that I felt, and there it is.
The vehicle was developed to fill a gap in the Army's inventory.
That's true, they didn't show the Black Hawk. They showed the, like, Hueys from Vietnam and whatnot. But the Black Hawk was really as iconic for its time as the Huey was. Sure, you know, the Gulf War and whatnot and the early War on Terror aren't as iconic as Vietnam, but still.
Deploying to Iraq in 2003.
Sadly, I think I have to. Knowingly, I think I have to mute it when he's not talking, though. Because that music is not safe for stream. Trump likes his music, and he licenses that shit. But the problem is, anyone watching is just boned on stream. They did have skydivers earlier, which was a pretty cool way to show the paratroopers. And they have had some air, but not as much air as I would like. Because for the Air Corps, really, they just... For the Air Corps, they could have done more with the Air Corps. Not only by having more planes, but at the same time, those planes are really old and most of them can't fly anymore, to be fair. But they could have just, I feel like, actually had people, like, dress up as the Air Corps. But I'm gonna guess they're gonna save that for later this year. Because... well...
and patrol the frontier from Ohio to western Illinois on horseback and by boat, with the likes of Daniel Boone and Abraham Lincoln in their ranks. After the 9/11 terrorist attacks, Rangers were called upon to lead the way in the global war on terrorism. As part of the U.S. Army Special Operations Command, the 75th Ranger Regiment, based out of Fort Bragg, North Carolina, represents a lethal, agile, and flexible force capable of conducting many complex joint special operations missions.
Can I move this,
Today's
please?
Rangers Regiment is the Army's premier direct action raid force. It is always combat ready, mentally and physically tough, and prepared to fight our country's adversaries. Operations Command is an elite group of individuals trained to lead and succeed in protecting the country from their threats. Composed of 5 units with unique specialties, Special Operations works in small tactical teams, taking on the most challenging and sensitive missions. military legends to service members and civilians alike, they take on terrorists through quiet guerrilla war-style missions in foreign countries. Ladies and gentlemen, the U.S. Army Special Forces.
The U.S. Army was founded on June 14th. Trump was also born on June 14th, but the parade itself is for the Army because it is the 250th anniversary of the founding of our military. Yes. Thank you, Jack. Yes, Jackal. It's for the anniversary of the Army. Next year is our country's 250th birthday, but before, you know, the Constitution was signed, we were already fighting the war effectively for independence. So that's why, even though America's birthday is next year, because we consider our birthday to be when we made the Constitution, not when we actually gained independence, because we gained independence years later. When, you know, we pushed the British out, but we consider 1776 to be the year because that's when the idea came all together into the Constitution. But the military was already fighting the year before. No, it's not. Don't get me wrong, Trump is enough of a egotist to probably be like, this is wonderful. I have a birthday on the anniversary of the Army. It's fantastic. I can have this big whole event and justify it. Don't get me wrong, but no, it is very much for the Army. Actually, they'll probably cut back to it, but every now and then, Trump is just standing up saluting them, and it's kind of just funny to me because he just kind of reminds me of like a kid being like there to be like saluting soldiers. It reminds me of like when I was a kid saluting soldiers as they'd march by in veterans parades.
During the war on terrorism, the 10th Mountain Division proved their mettle as light fighters through repeated deployments to Afghanistan and Iraq. Now, since 2002, the 10th Mountain Division, based out of Fort Drum, New York, has been the most deployed regular Army unit. Its combat brigades have seen over 20 deployments to both Iraq and Afghanistan.
So it was a bit of an intermission. You were right, Opus.
Operation Enduring Freedom. To show America's military might, they have one purpose: to deter war and, if ordered, defeat the enemies of the United States of America. They are the 10th Mountain Division.
Actually, I remember, I can't say his name because it would technically dox me, but in ROTC, when I was in ROTC, the colonel who was, like, he's a former Army colonel, but he was now, you know, in his retirement working for ROTC, and ROTC is like, think like, it's kind of like a military outreach group. How do I put it? It's like, imagine a college or in high school it's called JROTC program, where it just kind of is like a pre-military program if you're interested, and it can, like, if you like it, then it kind of gives you a fast track in the military effectively. It's a good way to think about it. And by fast track, I don't mean like you get to jump ranks. I just mean they're gonna know that you're already competent. You're still gonna have to go through basic training and shit. Fort Drum? Yeah. You live near the... Nice. But he was actually a artillery commander, the colonel was. And I can't remember what war it was, but he actually had to, like, maneuver artillery on mountainsides effectively to get just both excellent range and just get the drop on the enemy. Damn. One of the most annoying things about this is that I've already said this, but just the fact that Trump just loves his boomer music, but that shit is all copywritten. So I just have to constantly turn it off, the audio off whenever the guy's not talking. I wanted to keep this up on YouTube at least, but I don't think that's gonna happen. It looks like now it's vehicles and specialized units. Ooh. We had our history section, now we just have the badass section. Not to say the fucking history section wasn't badass. Ooh. Have my head on? Yes, I do have my head on. Yeah, that's the miracle we all want. Ooh. That, you know, one day we'll have, you know, an age without conflict, but sadly, life is a little too complicated for that. As an American, I don't mind having this stuff. I just wish we would stop, you know, using it in, like, stupid things. I wish that we'd just, like, either stop giving away our stuff and stop... Ooh. God, I was really annoyed. Like, I don't mind us supporting the Ukrainian front, but the fact that we just gave them that stuff for free... No, what you do is you give them that stuff on loan... and then you have them pay back 50% of it, then you forgive the other half of the loan. That is what America has done historically. Okay, you don't make your money back. You never make your money back on a loan, but you don't just give up the entire stock of your stuff. That's what we did in World War I, that's what we did in World War II, that's what we've done in every war, but in Ukraine, no, we just have to give them that stuff for free. No. On loan, then you forgive it halfway through the loan. It's a simple idea. Ooh. Has Ukraine paid for the military supply that we gave them? Because I don't know how Ukraine would afford all that military supply we gave them. Ooh. That's also true. We also get it through reparations and whatnot of the losing country. Because usually when you lose a war, it's like, okay, well, part of the treaty process is paying for the expenses of the war, effectively. Of course they haven't, yeah. Thing is, I don't think Russia is going to be paying back a lot of that stuff. Oh, shit.
By securing ready, prompt, and sustained land dominance by Army forces across the full spectrum of the conflict as part of the joint force.
That's good. Ooh. That's good if England has seized, like, Russian assets in that regard. Ooh. Like, I'm not a fan of Vladimir Zelensky, but, like, at the same time, I'm not gonna, like, overlook the fact that Putin just invaded. Like, though I don't like either country, I will be perfectly frank. I'm not gonna overlook the fact that, like, Russia is just a complete asshole in this situation. We've been doing sanctions for years, so it would probably be swept up in the sanctions, in all honesty, for Russia already, so I would assume as well.
But they all must be maintained. With over 200,000 trucks alone, wheeled vehicle mechanisms ensure that the fleet of vehicles are ready, and these mechanics get the job done.
This guy was doing so good at the start, chat. This presenter was doing so good at the start. He was like not missing a line, but around the hour mark, he's starting to slip, and I'm just, all I can think is he's just like me for real. I too can keep going for like the first 40 minutes to an hour, but then after that I start slipping in my reading too. I relate to this man so much.
Particularly for air assault missions. It was first used in Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm in 1991 and is also seeing active use in Ukraine. That's
true. God, the Russian invasion was also dumb as hell. Like, the idea of it was, oh hey, we'll invade during mud season because they'll never see it coming, and it won't be a problem because we now have paved roads, you know, is the thing, you know, like we'll attack, well they never see it coming. But then all the like Ukrainians had to do was destroy the freaking vehicle at the front of their columns, at the front of their convoys, and then they could no longer use the roads. And it's just like, oh my God, because they're small roads. They relied on infrastructure, they relied on Eastern European infrastructure that they should have known would not be up to the task for invasion. It was just, they tried to do a blitzkrieg, and then Soviet infrastructure said no. It's poetic.
Plunging the bayonet into the heart of the enemy.
Literally, Putin was like, I shall revive the Soviet Union, and then the Soviet Union went, no you won't.
The combat readiness of 2 Striker Brigade combat teams and a combat aviation brigade.
And they couldn't drive off the road because it's literally called mud season, because it becomes so mucky in Eastern Europe, especially in those parts of Eastern Europe, that everything just becomes like, it becomes just a mud pit effectively. And tanks are great at overcoming obstacles, but tanks are also really heavy and they just sink into the ground. So it's just, there's just nowhere for them to go when, like, you know, Zelensky just just used a drone to take out the first vehicle in their columns. It was just...
the spectrum from attorneys to astronauts and mechanics to engineers. The Army's greatest asset is our
That's also a good point. The cross-training, but also, even if they weren't cross-trained, the fact of the matter... What is going on?
Coming up next,
Can you see that shit? Oh my goodness.
And battle.
What was I gonna say is that a lot of their military doctrine, both Russia and Ukraine, would be derived from the Soviet Union. So they'd also probably just have similar mindsets to war already, so they would know their enemy in that regard as well.
This allows commanders
oh my God.
freedom of movement and action. The ISB provides the warfighter with increased flexibility to ensure infantry units maintain momentum to achieve mission success.
Okay. Ooh. I don't have toggles to mute the mute their stream and to put on my music, and it's just really wait, no, I do have toggles, but I have half the toggles I need to do what I'm doing right now. Because I've never done this before. I've played videos before, but I've never had to like not balance audios, but like swap between audios on the fly like this. Mostly because I've never had something that just keeps playing copywritten freaking music. Ooh. I have a stream deck, so I do have like, it's just I have to preset the stream deck beforehand, and I'm just not used to switching between audios quickly like this is all. Ooh, and that's just what keeps throwing me off. But I forgot that I do have a toggle for media player, so I don't need to like go away from here and click media player on. I should be able just to do that, and media player should be off now. But let me double check. Yeah, media player is off now, so hopefully this will get a little less clunky because of that. Ooh. But I have to play the free domain music when they're playing their boomer music. Ooh. So I think oh God. One thing I don't like is how YouTube's a little inconsistent on the volume toggle. There we go. 'Cause I need to have... So you guys can see the subtitles, so you can either read them when I don't have the audio on or when I'm talking over it. I need to, like, so you guys can actually read them, I need the play bar up so it's high enough for you guys to read it. Like that.
Answer, they lead. From Fort Bragg, witness a powerful demonstration of strength, purpose, and the unmatched capability of today's Army.
What do they mean by that? What are they gonna do? Oh, another video.
The Army has made me see my potential, and I feel like it's molded me into a better person.
The Army has many see my potential.
Brother of my uncle serving in Vietnam. I can do this. If they can do this, I can do this.
When I was born, my dad was still serving in the military, and him coming
I speak English. I don't understand what that meant.
My motivation, I think it follows in line. I think with what my family's done is kind of a sense of duty to serve our country and give back since it's given us so much.
I'm a very, let's say, timid person, but definitely.
The subtitles are ahead. The subtitles are leading, I think. Sometimes they're leading. I think sometimes they're dragging. They're not. It's weird.
It really shows how much working with the team can strengthen you.
Yeah, sometimes the subtitles are ahead, sometimes they're behind. It's really weird. Right now it looks like they're behind. I can't explain that. Like during the parade, I have definitely seen times where the subtitles have come up before the guy started talking. While with this, they're very much behind. It's not consistent. It is government, but that's how we know this came from the government, you know? It's not the prettiest thing to look at, but it works, I guess. The American government in every age. Oh.
This is one of the few jobs.
Shit, what's the helicopter called? Is it Air Force 3?
Put my life on the line for you, and they're willing to put their life on the line.
Was it Air Force 2? Or is the spare Air Force 1 called Air Force 2?
This is what we train for.
Shit.
This is what we do. My team leaders and squad leaders, they know exactly
I
what
should
we
know
do.
this as an American. I should know this as somebody named Merrick Columbo Vesper.
We're always ready to deploy within 18 hours and handle the mission at
God.
times.
I sometimes forget that, like, Chinook, I think their blades actually, like, they don't interlock, but, like, they overlap. And I kind of forget that sometimes. And because they're because they're in sync with one another and they're offset from one another, they can never hit one another. But it's just still crazy to see the fact that they have that overlap sometimes, to see shots like that. Marine 5, you're right. I don't know if it's Marine 5, but I'm gonna go with you, but it is like called Marine or something instead, because I think it's actually comes from the Navy, so I think that's why it gets that name.
Into those paratroopers. It's a rush. It's great.
The name of the helicopter that the president uses, nobody really cares about, because it's kind of just like a photo op thing, as you can see. It's like it's the one that he takes when he wants to, you know, be seen walking out of a vehicle to the crowd, is what kind of the helicopter is in America. Air Force One is the one everyone knows, because that's the one that actually gets the president places. Ooh. The Marine 5, very cool, is more just like the photo op taxi of the president. God damn it, Trump, take off the fucking... I know I was wearing a Make the Army Great Again hat at the start of stream, but... The fucking Trump's ego is just funny to me. Just having this nice video, then Trump with that fucking gauche white hat 4749.
Joint Base Elmendorf, Richardson, Alaska.
Yes, Trump, we know you're president.
Execute expeditionary operations worldwide, conduct multi-domain operations in the Indo-Pacific theater and the Arctic, and on order decisively defeat any adversary in extreme cold weather, mountainous and high latitude.
9/11. I don't know if you mean Air Force. I know I think actually Bush was in the air during 9/11, so I think actually, if I remember correctly, is either Bush or Cheney was in Air Force like One at the time of it, and they weren't allowed to land their plane until they knew like everything was secure, because the most vulnerable a plane is actually when it's landing, because it can't maneuver or anything. So pretty much he just had to like stay in the air with like flight escorts for like several hours. No, Bush was famously like on the ground, because there's that famous thing where like a guy walks up to Bush and says like, oh hey, something has hit like the building. I think it was Cheney or one of his it's Cheney or somebody really high up in the executive branch was in the air at the time of 9/11 and couldn't like land. Oh, I can't remember. I think they're looking into getting a new Air Force One, and during negotiations with the Saudi government wanted to sweeten the pot, so they gave a plane to function as a temporary extra like Air Force One effectively while we're replacing Air Force One. So if anything happens to Air Force One, like Trump is still using Air Force One. It's more just like a, oh hey, like it's a conciliatory gift kind of thing. It's just one of those things effectively. Ooh. Yeah, Bush was in a school, that's what I said. Like, oh, those are just warthogs from Halo. But the plane that the Saudis gave was not meant to replace it. It was meant to just be like a temporary substitute, and it was more just an act of goodwill, because nobody wants to be on Trump's bad side, because they're not sure if he's a crazy old man or if he still is like a witty negotiator, so to speak. They're not really sure, because nobody's sure at this point, which is kind of to Trump's benefit or detriment. Those are just straight up those are just straight up warthogs though. Well, technically they're Razorbacks, because they're the ones that hold the troops. But those are just straight up fucking Halo cars. I love it. Jesus Christ, it actually looks just like the Razorback from Halo Infinite. The Razorback has the same, like, back compartment for troops. Oh, this is copywritten again. I'm giving those a good look. Those look really nice. That's really cool. Oh my god. If it wasn't for the fact that I'd have to click away from this to like, hold up, Halo Razor back. Like, I don't know if you guys, like, Halo ain't as popular as it used to be, so I don't know if you guys know what a Razorback looks like, but ooh, it's just an up-armored Warthog. Please tell me this will still come through OBS if it's a web file. I hate web files so much. But I'll put it here. Oh wait, no, it can't go there. Yes, it can. Oh, they're gonna be off screen by the time I get this up, but I just want to show you. I should have just looked up the Troop Warthog in all honesty, because that is a better comparison. Because I just remember the Razorback doesn't have the side seats, it's the Troop Warthog, but that doesn't matter. Okay, I was about to freak out because I thought I had it on with this copywritten music up. Dune asset. What do you mean it didn't save there? Ah, I can't open it in OBS because it's a web file. Oh. I am so full of hate right now for that reason alone. Oh my god. But you guys know what it is. It sounds like you guys, everyone recognizes it, but it's just, I still want to get the visual aid up. Fucking web files. Oh my god. We know who made web files, and I just want to ask, why is he still walking free? Okay, why is he still walking amongst us like a fellow human when we know he's not? What's the point of it all? When that man is allowed to walk free? When there's such injustice in this world that things like that are allowed to happen. Oh. Okay, well, okay. I mean... Interesting. Okay, then. That was weird. Hmm. What kind of joke's on that guy? I had somebody trying to troll me on Kick, but I wasn't even looking at Kick. Little did he know I was incompetent. Fucking dumbass. Okay. Get banned. Fucking moron. Oh shit, I'm sorry.
The Army Reserve has since served as a vital source of manpower for the force during times of need, gradually transitioning from a strategic force to an operational force in response to the pressures of the war on terrorism.
Let's move that there.
The 170,000 Army
thank you for the follow.
1,000 civilians serving their home communities, and when needed, they can quickly mobilize. The Army can't deploy, they can't fight.
Thank you for the follow, Jamie.
They are an important component of Army readiness. Let's have a big hand for the Army Reserve.
I think that's actually the first time I've ever banned someone in any of my chats, though. Figures that it would be on Kick, but literally... Ooh, literally the guy just came in and just said several slurs in 3 separate messages, and it's just like, okay. Delete, 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 ban. I always loved these these armored personnel carriers. Yes. I always just like these just little... God. I don't know. They're like ATTEs from Star Wars, but without legs. As stupid as that sounds. But I would genuinely be surprised if the ATTEs were inspired by, you know, armored personnel carriers. APCs. That's the word I'm looking for. He's about to talk again. No? Why is it there's just a subtitle here? Like, whatever. Actually, next time they're in helmets, so it's actually hard to point them out, but next time when we see a salute, I want to see if we can... the guy who stands next to Trump gave a salute during the national anthem, and he gave a proper salute. Ooh, and that's what I want to... I know it doesn't matter to you, but to me it matters. I just want to explain why Trump's salute is so funny by showing a comparison. I've always said it's because it's too high up, it's too flat when it's supposed to be angled. It's supposed to be... a proper American salute, and I can't show you because my arms don't work, is supposed to be at the corner, at the end of your eyebrow, effectively. And it's kind of like your hand is supposed to be angled like, think a rooftop. So like water would just go across it, but it wouldn't just like fall off of it. It would go across it and off it. And if you're wearing glasses, it should be at the edge of your glasses instead of your eyebrow. So that's all it is, and you just have your arm should be pretty much perpendicular to the ground when you're in that pose, and that is just certain ways to check it. It's not that complicated, really. But it's just always funny to me to see Trump having his hand just halfway up his eyebrow. Ooh, P. Hegseth. Oh, is that Hegseth next to him? Ooh.
Surrounded by German forces in the frozen forests of Belgium in December 1944, soldiers of the 101st Airborne held the line.
Ooh. Those trucks always look so weird to me. I just realized I don't want that on. Okay. Okay. Steve Hokekiff. I just have to constantly be checking my audios. I'm happy this wasn't just an hour. There's the warthogs again. Let's go. Why are they holding the drones? Wait a minute. Wait a freaking minute. What's the point of having the drones on propellers if you're just having to carry them? I made a joke about the people who had to pick up the horse poop, but I'd rather be picking up the horse poop than be the person awkwardly walking around with like a 15-pound just toy in my hand throughout this. Jesus Christ, they look like they're ready. They look like they're ready to freaking hell dive.
Multi-Purpose Company's 2nd Battalion, 327th Infantry Regiment, 1st Mobile Brigade, 101st Airborne Division, Bastogne. They are showcasing the Army's Transformation in Contact Initiative, a program that
There he
allows
is.
the Army to rapidly
There he is,
test,
chat.
evaluate, and equip our soldiers with the newest technologies. Modern mobile and
Okay, there we go. We have at least one drone in the sky, chat. There's our taxpayer dollars at work.
They're carrying the next generation.
You can probably buy that at your local Best Buy for $100. The government spent $5,000 for it. Let's go.
A new mobility asset that can rapidly move through most terrain types. The trailer is the S-MET, and it's capable of carrying heavy loads under its own power through restrictive terrain.
Please God tell me it's called the Puma.
Three types of small unmanned aerial
Please God tell me it's called the Puma.
X located on the S-MET, the C-100.
Those are Chinese drones.
Above us there, the X-10D,
Oh God.
which are flying above the formation right now.
I hope we get to see more future technology like this, if we can. Though I'm kind of surprised that they are like the Warthog in the fact that they're so open. I mean, they make great, you know, light troop transports, especially behind the lines. But so much of like modern, especially in the 2000s, like Focus was just having everything so up armored that you wouldn't believe it. I'm gonna guess that they're pretty much just mobile docks that somebody is piloting them, but they have to like land every now and then. Oh, there's Steve. Okay, that's a good shot. What time of this is? Okay, this is like the... That was a good shot right there. There was a lot of sauce in that shot. Or aura, as the kids say nowadays. You forgot to charge his, yeah? Most believable thing in the military. Everyone carrying theirs just forgot to charge. Here's the thing. If they have to hold their arm up like that for like the entire march, that's why I wouldn't want to do it, because that shit fucking hurts after like 15 minutes. Like, I can't remember, but I remember a movie that did something like that where it's like a person's like with a bird would like fly and then the bird just falls to the ground dead. But doing that with a drone, oh, bam. Oh. Well, that's gonna cost you $5,000. Oh no, that's 10 years of pay.
Nicknamed the Beast and Whispering Death because of its firepower, accuracy while moving.
M1A ones are.
Together, they offer mobility and firepower.
They're pretty cool.
Combination.
To be honest though, I don't really mind the military as long as the drones can't be like hacked for military secrets or some shit somehow. I don't know. As long as they're not like somehow making some stupid mistake like that. I don't know how the hell you'd hack a drone and get military secrets, but it's the army. There's been dumber shit that's happened. But I honestly don't mind if they're just like, yeah, it's just like a disposable drone we have for scouting. Just get the $100 one from Best Buy. I don't give a damn. I mean, in the military, they're literally like, hey, you grew up playing Xbox or PlayStation? PlayStation? Okay, here's your controller to pilot your drone. Have fun. It's like how in the past, it's like during World War II, they're like, hey, well, you came from a farm? So you're familiar with like this type of shotgun, right? Okay, this is the same shotgun, but we just sawed off like, the first couple of inches so it can fit in the trenches. Go have fun, kill some krauts. As that is the American military at its best, in my opinion, when we're just giving our soldiers things that they already have, like IRL, and we're just like, go kill people. we don't care how you do it at this point, okay? Just make sure, like, you don't kill our own guys while we're at it. Don't buy $100 stuff. Do not buy, if you get like a submarine secondhand and they say like, oh, it's great, it's, did some great work around the Titanic, do not buy US military, okay? I know it's the lowest bidder, but do not buy the Titanic submarine. Oh my god. Do not pass go. Also, don't use your control. I think you're actually referring to the controller thing with that. Don't pilot a submarine with a controller. Don't do that either. No, they weren't even using Xbox controllers. They were using like Mad Cat controllers, which are crap. Mad Cat controllers break like after a year of use. Could you imagine that, just being in a submarine and then it's like, uh-oh, my left joystick, which controls, our depth, no longer works. Like, that's just like, what do you do then? If you're gonna, like, at least use a Duke controller if you're gonna be piloting a submarine. If you're gonna be piloting a submarine, for the love of God, at least use a Duke. Those things are, like, nearly invincible. Death by stick drift. Oh, dude, and that's why you can't use an Xbox controller either. I have died.
In the world. The Apache entered service in the mid-1980s and continued
in
to
frickin', what is it, Mass Effect 2, I had horrible stick drift, and whenever I went to a wall to take cover, Shepard would just literally start going across the wall. Like any game with cover, if you took cover, because the stick drift was so bad, he'd just start moving across the wall uncontrollably, like he's just schizoing out.
Accumulating over 5 million flight hours, 1.3 million of which have been in combat. The AH-64 Apache represents the backbone of the U.S. Army's attack helicopter fleet.
The only stick drift I've ever known worse than Halo stick drift, than Xbox 360 stick drift, is Joy-Con stick drift, because that shit's unmanageable. You can manage like 360 stick drift because it won't just have your character. If you're standing still, your character will stand still. Okay? Most of the time with, stick drift of the 360 from my experience. Once the stick drift happens on the Joy-Con, it just immediately goes like, wow, like you just can't control anything. It's not like Oh, drones. But, like, normal stick drift is this. And this is Joy-Con. Just... Okay. Let's see what we got here.
The Army Research Laboratory robot dogs reflect the latest in Army innovation. Look at this. Much like a true canine, these robots can go where soldiers cannot. They have increased mobility, improved tactical awareness, reduced risk to soldiers, and enhanced
I do love the arms.
Replacing soldiers, robot dogs can explore terrain that may be difficult for soldiers to traverse, dispose of explosive ordnance, and act in defensive posture or aggressive capacity when armed.
I don't understand these subtitles. Sometimes it seems like they have the script of the guy and they're up before he's talking, but now it seems like everything's behind him. So like they had the script for the first half of the parade, and then they're just winging it with like shitty AI now. Or YouTube is. It's weird.
Is another innovation that can adapt seamlessly for various missions from recon to bomb recognition. These dogs reduce risk and support soldiers completely in high-stakes missions. They have a standard walk speed of 2 miles per hour and are working towards 6.7 miles per hour sprint.
I love how it just has like a robot arm on it. I can imagine like you deploying the arm and using it as an arm, but also like making it, you know, do gestures with it. Like it's like an actual like head of an animal or something. I really wish just we could have the parade music instead.
As the oldest continuously serving Army band and the oldest unit at West Point, this is the United States Military Academy Band, ladies and gentlemen.
Is that the end of the
West
parade?
Point Band traces its history to a single drummer and fifer appointed by George Washington during the American Revolution. Over the next 2 centuries, this band evolved into one of the most capable and versatile performing groups in the world.
I think that might be the end of the parade, though. Because it looks like it's just normal vehicles that would be there to, you know, sweep up any mess and whatnot behind it. But they might also be using a wide camera lens, which can kind of mess with distance and distort it a bit. That second half went by a lot quicker, in my opinion.
One of the most prestigious institutions in the world where leadership is forged and duty becomes destiny. This is West Point.
West Point!
Where Army leaders are made. With the motto of duty, honor, and country, West Point trains the best and brightest to serve their country as Army officers. Founded back in 1802 by President Thomas Jefferson, West Point is the home of the Long Gray Line, a legacy of courage and excellence that includes 77 Medal of Honor recipients, 2 U.S. presidents,
So I'm just
Eisenhower, and
thinking, like, if you forgot to sweep back the, like, your back skirt on that uniform before sitting down, and you sat down on all those beads, that would hurt your butt so much. Oh my god. Let's look at those. Those would be so uncomfortable to accidentally sit on.
Upon entering the United States Army, all recruits undergo initial entry training, a highly intense and a challenging training period aimed at developing a soldier's physical and mental toughness, instill discipline, train them in essential combat skills, and foster teamwork. IET transforms civilians into soldiers based on the 7 core Army values: loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage.
Okay, no, there's still... Okay, so these are the special... These are the specials. We've had the, like, history march, we've had the vehicles, and now these are the special units. Or special... Units isn't the right word, but you know what I mean.
The Virginia Military Institute, on a mission to produce citizen soldiers, men and women educated for civilian life, prepared to serve their
Jesus
country
Christ,
in the armed
Opus.
forces. VMI counts a Nobel Prize winner, 11 Rhodes Scholars, generals.
God damn. No, go back to those guys in the white uniforms, specifically the ones with the sashes on their waists. That goes so hard.
Senior military colleges, students at Virginia Military Institute
Special needs, no. No, that's the Marines.
Cadets. While cadets in the Corps can serve in any branch of the United States military or pursue other careers, those in Army
Ospreys.
ROTC earn their
I think they're
commission
Navy.
as officers, ready to serve on active duty in the National Guard or Army Reserve. Each year, the Army
Actually, the
ROTC
Navy...
Blue Ridge
Wait, isn't the
Battalion
Navy
commissions
older than
approximately
the Army?
132nd lieutenants.
No, the
ensuring that
Marines are
excellence in
older
leadership
than the
continues
Army.
in
The
generations to
Marines
come.
are the oldest part, I think, of the U.S. military. If I remember
The
correctly.
Citadel, the Military College of South Carolina,
makes it a little confusing.
offers students the opportunity to participate in Army ROTC or the Historic Corps of Cadets. Founded in 1842, the Citadel is the third
Is this-
oldest of the senior
I don't know
military
why they
colleges
have that red
and is
sash,
known
but
for
it
its
goes
Corps of
so
cadets
hard.
living and studying under a classical military system that makes leadership and character development essential.
Like, it's a nice uniform overall, but just had that red sash breaking it up. It goes hard.
Earn their commission each year through the Army Senior ROTC Palmetto Battalion, playing a vital role in shaping the future.
That guy has really deep sockets. Holy shit. I was gonna point him out, but that guy who was second from the the second from the outside had super deep eye sockets.
ROTC and the renowned Corps of Cadets. The Corps of Cadets' central purposes has remained building individuals that exemplify respect, excellence, leadership, loyalty, integrity, and selfless service. Students at the university who participate in the Army ROTC earn their commission as officers, ready to serve on active duty.
Why do you
in the
gotta be
National Guard
unique
or
there,
Army
buddy?
Reserve.
Everyone else has
Each
their
year,
hat
Army
perfectly
Senior
straight. You're like, no, no, no.
ROTC training
I'm allowed to
battalion
have it
Texas
positioned
A&M
slightly off to the
proudly
side, so I'm gonna be the
commissions more
one
than
dude who
97
does.
lieutenants and is honored to shape the future leaders of the U.S. Army.
Honestly, there's probably Ospreys in both the U.S. Army, Navy, and Air Force now that I think about it.
In a powerful display of commitment, these future soldiers will raise their right hand and take an oath of enlistment, pledging to serve our nation. This joint formation is proudly led by the Joint Task Force.
I always forget about Coast Guard, but to be fair, everyone always forgets about the Coast Guard. Opus listing all of them: Army, Navy, Marine, Coast Guard, Air Force, Space Force.
Shaping tomorrow's Army, West Point's most inspiring cadets remind us that America's future.
To be fair, a lot of people also just kind of throw in Marines into Navy. Ooh, and we just kind of just say Army, Air Force, Navy.
Knows that I'm doing it,
Wait.
not for myself.
No, we also say Marines. What am I thinking? Because it's the 4 branches of the military, now 5 branches of the military. Coast Guard, I guess, you know. Coast Guard literally stopping, you know, narcotic submarines all the time, you know. But we just don't give them any appreciation. Literally, you got, like, people, like, coming over from, like, Central America in submarines full of cocaine. Coast Guard just every day, just like, okay, no, no. You are not allowed in here. In fact, you're arrested. And we just show them no appreciation. Holy shit, look at those chevrons.
Is their baseline. And that, to me, is what it means to be a West Point cadet.
From the earliest days of our nation,
Jesus, I think they said that the last time there was a DC parade like this might have been like after the Gulf War, which sounds like that's a bit long, so I don't know what their qualifier was.
Preceded me here.
In order?
Originally, I didn't really know.
Why did the fucking Marines, fucking Marines can't count, they're the crayon eaters. Marines, they're not lying, they just can't count.
Protecting the Constitution, I knew it was somewhere I had to be.
Every time that
Jesus fucking Christ, those chevrons are massive.
I always developed this sense of gratitude and pride
of being an American, and I wanted to give back to my country what it means to me.
And it wasn't until I zipped up the blouse and I put the belt on for the first time that I realized that I was going to be serving my country, and it felt right. West Point was the place that I needed to be, and more importantly, the Army was where I wanted to be.
I just looked to the left and right over basic training and realized that we all had the same American patch on our
The
shoulders.
font on the... It might be.
I mean, there was no better feeling in the world knowing that every single person...
The fonts on those hats might be getting bigger. It's like, I forget what it is. It's like, don't bully me Nagatoro. One of the characters in that has an ahegao, whatever. No, so, not an ahegao, an ahoge. That's a mistake you should not make, Merrick. An ahoge, and over the course of that, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's like that. Ooh, it just happens so subtly you don't notice it, but you're not quite sure. You're like, it has to be getting bigger, but you're not sure because you just, it's so gradually, you're just used to it.
And as a young officer, that's going to be exactly what I get to do.
I was the cadet basic training first detail for the first 3 weeks. And I got to see the new cadets come in from their families, homes, and being in process in their very...
I think God it is just focused on the military, and it's not actually trying to push like anything politically. Like even when they like brought up the, you know, the withdrawal from like Afghanistan, they didn't like, they could have easily like kind of like done that as a snipe against Joe Biden, but they kind of just move on from it. They just go like, oh yeah, from like the withdrawal from Afghanistan, and then they move on. They could have taken a snipe. They could have been really petty. But they're like, there is neutrality in this, which is appreciated.
But it only provides opportunities. The people here have to choose to take those opportunities and grow and lead and serve. And the people here want to do that. And I'm proud to be a part of that. And I would tell any high schooler who is considering it, you won't regret it.
U.S. Army. 250th. That's nice. That's a nice logo.
Mr. President, First Sergeant Norton reporting for duty, sir. Ready to commence the ceremony as directed.
I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Oh, that's nice.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States.
He's just been doing his showman stick for so long that he can't stop himself.
Appointed over me.
Like his voice is on point, but his body language is still like that, like ooh.
And the uniform code.
But it is very cool that they're doing this here.
So help me God. Congratulations, congratulations. Welcome to the United States Army, and have a great life. Thank you very much. Have a great life. Thank you.
Oh yeah, this is on like the East Coast. Yeah, ooh, I'm in the same time zone as this, but I forget that where I am in the time zone is very different from where they are. They are on the edge of the time zone. It is getting dark there. I'm kind of surprised they did it this late, actually. It is. Hey. Like, he wasn't meaning to, you know, do his little, like, physical twitches and whatnot. It's just that he's just been doing that shit for, like, several decades.
It will always end with two people facing off with each other.
He's, like, Pavlovianly conditioned himself. He can't stop it. He's too old, chat.
Defend our nation's interest forward.
Surrender is not a Ranger word. It's not an option. I know that I'm not going to be able to get to do this again. This is my chance.
It all starts at the legendary Ranger School.
Oh.
A crucible where these elite warriors are forged. It has been described as the longest approved gut check in the Army. Over 62 days, students...
I wish it was natural, but if you go back to like him in like the 90s interviews, he can't... He might want to do it naturally, but he could at least keep it under control like in the 90s and 80s. Like he'd still have like, kind of like move around a little, but it wasn't as cartoonish as it is now. Now he's just old and he doesn't care anymore. He's like, I don't care, I'm just going to have my little twitches. I'm going to move around.
Down to their core.
If I have a come to God moment, I have to take my PC off, my patrol cap, and on the inside of that, my commander gave me a Ranger tab, the yellow and black one that you get during graduation.
No problem, creative man. Have a great one, and hopefully I see you in the future. But you have a great night's rest over there, because it has to be pretty late over there. If you're in Europe, you're like 5 or 6 hours ahead of me, man.
There's not going to be this many people by tomorrow. Just a slight
Jesus Christ, that's like 2 in the morning or something. That's past midnight. You get sleep. You sleep well.
Rangers, if you don't figure it out, you're about to get another casualty.
It's completely
Okay.
different than what
You sleep deep and well, my friend.
you can't put that into words, so it's hard to tell somebody something that you have to experience for yourself.
They got a saying, it's called as the tab turns. So Ranger School is continuing to change and to develop, but at the end of the day, it is the same. Right? They're always going to put you in scenarios that is going to test with your ability to actually make decisions on the ground.
As you go through Ranger School, it is a gut check. It's going to check you out. And what's going to get you through it is whether you have it or not. Thousands and thousands of soldiers train all their lives to come here, prepare themselves to come to Ranger School, and only a few hundred leave here every class with the tab. It's not for everyone.
I'm not going to leave until I get it, so just buckle down, stop complaining, and just get the job done.
Rangers are pretty cool. Ooh.
Please welcome country music sensation and
Oh, shit.
proud supporter of our troops, Warren Ziders.
This is gonna have to be muted real quick. What is going on with that mic stand? It's a lightning bolt. You think Trump hired him based on the lightning bolt? He was just like, oh my god, that's so cool. That's pretty cool though that Trump got this music star to come out to sing for the West Point guys. My YouTube isn't even trying to get subtitles anymore. Why did it say pause? Yeah, but it should be over now, but that was really nice. I like the Expedition of Future technology. The warthogs were probably my favorite part of the parade, just because I was not expecting Halo 3 warthogs to just be in the parade. Actually, I realized I should have done this earlier, but in case he has more songs, because I can't play them for obvious reasons, because this stream is probably gonna have to get taken down regardless. But I'm gonna see if it can stay up. If it can't, I'm just gonna take it down. Ooh, I'm not really sure. But if you want to listen to this guy singing as well live, you'll at least catch the other half of this song. Please tell me he's not one and done. Okay, thank God. And let's get Kick back up. Yeah. I realize that just because I have to mute it doesn't mean you guys shouldn't be able to listen to it still. It's my first time doing a stream like this, so I hope it's understandable of my little mistakes. Just like me not realizing the soundboard issue I was making.
But I would just like to say thank you so much for having me here tonight. I am just so fortunate to be here in front of y'all. And thank you guys so much for what you guys do. And honestly, happy birthday, y'all. Happy birthday.
Army or not, if you know anyone in the military, always remind them, always remember to say thank you for your service. Especially for the Army today of all days, but just in general. Ride the Lightning, we're going back to the 80s. My favorite, actually, this is completely a non sequitur, but my favorite analysis I've ever heard of a movie, it's not really, but one of the funniest analyses I've ever heard of a movie is my brother talking about Wonder Woman 1984 and how it's just symbolic for the 80s and how everyone was on drugs. And it all comes together in the scene when Wonder Woman uses the lasso of truth to hook on to lightning bolts and pull herself forward to fly through the air by literally lassoing lightning. And he's like, and it all comes together because she's riding the lightning. Just like how everyone was on was on cocaine in the 80s. It's all a metaphor. Ooh. If we were just on Twitch, I wouldn't care, but because I want to try to keep the VOD up on YouTube. I just can't play this. Ooh. Are they just gonna... Ooh. If they're gonna do a full concert, I might just leave you with the concert and sign off, in all honesty. And just use the links I already gave you. And also for Kick as well, I suppose you also deserve a link. I suppose. Even though Kick has been very naughty today. Under the assumption I'm gonna just wait until this song ends and sign off, that it's just gonna be a nice little concert, and it'd be something nice just to leave you guys with. Ooh. I just don't want to. I don't want to have dead air during the stream, but at the same time, I don't want to talk over the music. Ooh. Oh no, that's it. Okay. It looks like he just did 2 songs and was done. Probably got paid like millions of dollars, but you know what? Good for him. He said happy birthday to the army before he said happy birthday to Trump. Ooh, I just hadn't unmuted it yet. Well, it looks like that's the end of it. Thank you for the follow, my dude. Ooh. Is very much appreciated. Thank you for the follow, hot dog, my dude. Ooh, but it looks like that is the end of it. A very fun... I'm just gonna sign off while I can. I have links, so if there's anything more left in this stream, just in case, you can follow them through those links. But I'm just gonna sign off now because that was really nice. I liked how they went through the history of everything, you know, from like the revolution to the modern era. Then they had, you know, just the vehicles of the military go on parade, the ground vehicles. And then they ended with what's to come, and they just showed that they had Halo 3 Warthogs and a bunch of, you know, Best Buy drones, which was pretty cool in my opinion. But we are going to be signing off now. We will be back on Monday to finish the RX-78, and on Tuesday through Thursday, we'll be reading The King in Yellow. And then on Friday, we're going to be playing more Expedition 33. But until then, I want everyone watching this to, if they know anyone in the military, especially in the army, to thank them for their service. Have a great day, a wonderful life. If you are new here, subscribe and follow along for more. Give a like if you're on YouTube. But I'll catch you next time, cowboys. Merrick Vesper signing off from me to you. I'm not sure if I should end it there or I should raid you guys out. I'll link in case this is just done for the night. I'll link you guys somewhere else if you don't want to see the rest of like the post parade thing. Ooh. I'll link you out on... On Twitch, I'll link you out to Shog Mommy. Just in case. And... ah, fuck it, I won't even bother on YouTube. Just have a good night, everybody.